Today we'll start a new lesson, that is Gentleman of Rio and Medio. Author Juan A. Cedillo. Okay, so it's a story of the Gentleman of Rio and Medio. Rio and Medio, it's a place in New Mexico, that is United States. So Rio and Medio, it's a place in New Mexico, United States. So there is a gentleman in Rio and Medio, and actually whom do you call a gentleman? A gentleman is the one who possesses a good quality. So this story is about a gentleman who live in Rio and Medio. Okay, author Juan A. Cedillo. So this author Juan A. Cedillo, he is born in New Mexico. He is a Spanish descendant, writer, translator, lawyer, and also he held the public office. Okay, and this lesson is an interesting story, and it is based on the real life. Okay, and the author is sharing with his reader. Okay, the author is sharing this story with this reader. It is an actual legal case which he had handled. Okay, so it's an actual legal case which he had handled because author himself is a lawyer. Okay, this is a legal case which he had handled, and he is sharing with this reader. Okay, so I'll read the lesson. Before that, let us know about the characters. The characters in this story are storyteller, that is author Juan A. Cedillo. Old man is called as Don Anselmo. Americans, that is the people who had purchased his land, that is Don Anselmo's and the land. And dark young man, a man who always accompanied an old man. Okay, four characters: storyteller, old man, Americans, and dark young man. Okay, these are the four characters. So it's a story, okay, a legal case which the author had settled, and he is sharing with his reader. So it's a story of the Gentleman of Rio and Medio. Rio and Medio, it's a place in New Mexico, that is in United States of America. Okay, so now I'll read the lesson. It took months of negotiation to come to an understanding with the old man. He was in no hurry. What he had the most of was time. He lived up in Rio and Medio, where his people had been for hundreds of years. He tilled the land they had tilled. His house was small and wretched, but quaint. The little creek ran through his land. His orchard was gnarled and beautiful. The day of the sale, he came into the office. His coat was old, green, and faded. I thought of a Senator Catron, who has been such a power with these people up there in the mountains. Perhaps it was one of his old Prince Alberts. He wore gloves. They were old and torn, and his fingertips showed through them. He carried a cane, but it was only the skeleton of a worn-out umbrella. Behind him walked one of his innumerable kin, a dark young man with eyes like a gazelle. The old man bowed to all of us in the room. Then he removed his hat, gloves, slowly and carefully. Chaplin once did that in a picture in a bank. He was the janitor. There he handed his things to the boy, who stood obediently behind the old man's chair. So I have read 3 paragraphs. Let us see what does it says. It took months of negotiation to come to an understanding. So what negotiation they are talking about? Actually, this old man, that is this gentleman, okay, he is called as Anselmo. Okay, this gentleman of Rio and Medio had sold his property, that is his house and land, for the Americans. Okay, for the Americans for $1,200. Okay, this gentleman of Rio and Medio had sold his property, okay, to the Americans for 8 acres of land for these Americans for $1,200. Okay, so it took months of negotiation to come to an understanding with the old man. So they are dealing this matter. Americans are willing to buy the land and they wanted to have a negotiation. Negotiation means official discussion. Okay, they have to discuss and they have to come to an agreement. Okay, so it took months together to come to an understanding with this old man. Okay, because he was in no hurry. Why did it took such a long time? Because this old man, that is Anselmo, was not in a hurry. Okay, what he had the most of was time. That means he had a lot of time and he was in no hurry. Okay, he lived up in Rio and Medio. He refers here Anselmo. Where did he live? He lived in Rio and Medio. He lived up in Rio and Medio, where the people had been, where his people had been hundreds of years. Okay, so it says that he had been living in Rio and Medio from his childhood, and even his ancestors were also been there. So he has been there from many years. Okay, from his birth, and he lived there for hundreds of years, where his people had been there. Okay, he tilled the same land they had tilled. Okay, so this line says that this old man is a farmer. He tilled the same land. That means he plowed the same land that they had tilled. That means his ancestors, his parents tilled. Okay, so this line says that he is a farmer. He plowed the same land. Okay, his house was small. So this line gives you the description about his house. How was his house? His house was small and wretched. Wretched means unpleasant. So here they are giving the description about his house. His house was small, wretched. Wretched means unpleasant, but quaint. Quaint here it means that unusual and attractive, especially in an old-fashioned way. So his house was wretched, that is unpleasant, but quaint, old-fashioned. Okay, the little creek. What is the meaning of creek? A small river, a narrow stream, a small narrow stream. Okay, small creek ran through his land. Okay, so this is the description of his land, house. His house was a small, wretched, that is unpleasant, but quaint, but old-fashioned, and the little creek, the little stream or a river had passed through his land. And his orchard. What is the meaning of orchard? A piece of land in which fruit trees are grown. Okay, his orchard was gnarled. Gnarled means branches of a tree with twisted hard lumps. Okay, so his orchard were gnarled. Okay, the tree with the twisted lumps. Okay, and beautiful. So this is the description of his place. It says that his house was small but wretched. Okay, unpleasant but quaint, old-fashioned. Little creek ran through his land and his orchard. Okay, the area where the trees of fruits are grown were gnarled. That is, the branches were twisted. Okay, and were very beautiful. So the first paragraph tells us that this Americans have purchased the land from Anselmo. Anselmo has sold his land, that is his house and the property, for the Americans. That is, he owns 8 acres of land. He has sold his 8 acres of land to these Americans for $1,200. And these people have come with an agreement. That means they have come to make an agreement with this Don Anselmo, and the writer, that is author, that Juan A. Cedillo, he says that this Don Anselmo has taken 1 month to come to an negotiation, negotiation. Why? Because he was not in a hurry. Okay, and it also says that he's been there in Rio and Medio from many years. That is, it's the land of his ancestors, and he had been there from the beginning. That is, from his birth, and he plowed the land which was plowed even by his forefathers. Okay, and it also tells us about his land. His land was house was a small, wretched, quaint, and little creek ran through his land. An orchard was gnarled and beautiful. Okay. Now let us see about the second paragraph. The day of the sale, he came into the office. Day of the sale, he came into the office. Here he refers to Anselmo. So on the day of the sale, he came to the office, and his coat was old, green and faded. So here in this paragraph you can see the author is describing his appearance. Okay, he says that the day of the sale, Anselmo came to his office. His coat was old. The coat that he was wearing was old, green and faded. Okay, it has completely lost its color. Faded means dim. Okay, I thought of senator. I refers to here author. Okay, I thought of senator. So the author thought him as a senator. Senator means a member of the Senate, like how we have a member of the cabinet. No, so like that, a person who has a power. Cabinet members, they have an officer. That means they also have power. Okay, as he entered into his office, he saw him, and he thought that as if the senator had come to his office, who is in power. That means who has a lot of power. Okay, I thought of Senator Catron. Okay, he thought as if the senator had come to his office. So he had such power. That means Anselmo had such power in Rio and Medio. So who has been such power with those people up there in the mountain. So it says that like how the author saw in his office, and when he saw him, he thought of a senator. Okay, that means a person who has in power. So such a power this Anselmo has with his people in Rio and Medio, where he stays in the mountain. That is, a most powerful and respectable person in Rio and Medio. Perhaps it was one of his old Prince Albert. So they are giving the description of his coat. They say that he wore a coat which is old, green, faded. Okay, perhaps it was one of his old Prince Albert. Prince Albert, here they have given Prince Albert is the name of the coat, where they say that it's usually up to the knee. Okay, it is a double coated coat. So the author is comparing his coat to the Prince Albert. Okay, it's the name of the coat, where they say that it's usually up to the knee, and it is a double coated coat. Okay, so the coat that he is wearing is old, green, faded, and it is up to his knee. And he wore gloves. He is also wearing the gloves, but those gloves were old, torn, and his fingertips showed through them. The gloves that he is wearing, it is torn. Okay, and his fingertips could be seen through them. Okay, he carried a cane. Cane means a stick. He carried a cane. Usually, the old people, they hold a cane or a stick to for their support, isn't it? So he also carried a cane, but it was the skeleton of a worn out umbrella. Worn out means damaged umbrella. So the cane, the stick that he is holding, it is the worn out, damaged umbrella. Okay, behind him walked one of his innumerable kin. Okay, behind him came a person, that is one of his relative, that is one of his family member. Okay, kin means one of the family member. Okay, so behind him came one of the family member who is dark young man with eyes like a gazelle. Okay, gazelle is like a antelope, that is a deer. Okay, so his eyes look like a gazelle. Okay, so this is the description. The second paragraph gives the description of Don Anselmo, about Anselmo, where they describe that he came to the office on the day of the sale, and his appearance, they say that he wore a coat which was looking old, green, faded, and he thinks that it is like a Prince Albert, that means a long double coated coat up to the knee, and he also wore a blouse, but the blouse was torn and it was also old, and they could see the fingertips through them. Okay, the blouse was torn. Since it was torn, they could see this fingertips through them, and also he carried a cane, but it was a worn out, that means a damaged cane. Okay, and behind him is one of his innumerable kin, that is one of his relative. Okay, he was a dark young man. Okay, where his eyes looked like a gazelle. So this is the description of the old man Anselmo. Okay, that is about second paragraph. Third paragraph. The old man bowed to all of us in the room. Bowed means he went to everyone in the room. Then he removed his hat. And gloves. Okay, slowly and carefully. He removed his hat and gloves slowly and carefully. Chaplin once, okay, did that in the picture in a bank where he was the janitor. So his action here, the writer is telling us about his action. Okay, where he came to his office and he removed his hat and gloves slowly and carefully, and he handed it over to his one of his boy who had accompanied. Okay, so this action he compared it to Charlie Chaplin. I think you all are familiar with him. Charlie Chaplin, once he has done this action in one of his movie in a bank as he was a janitor. Janitor, in the meaning they have given, whose job is to look after a school or a large building. So this action, that is, he removed his hat and gloves slowly and carefully. This is comparing to Charlie Chaplin's action, that is, once he had done in a picture in a bank as a janitor. Janitor means a person whose job is to look after a school or a large building. Okay, then he handed his things. Things means his hat, gloves, and his stick. Okay, everything to the boy who stood obediently behind the old man's chair. Okay, so these three paragraphs. First paragraph tells us about that he is a person who has been living in Rio and Medio from several years. That is many years, and he is a farmer. He plowed the land which was plowed by his ancestors, and it also has described his house. His house was small, okay, and wretched, quaint little river, that means a stream passes through his land, and there was an orchard. Okay, and also second paragraph tells about his appearance, and third paragraph it tells us that he come to the office and he removes his gloves and hat, and slowly he give it to the man who had accompanied him slowly. And this action is compared, that the author is compared to Charlie Chaplin once he had done in a movie called as a janitor. Okay, then fourth paragraph. There was a great deal of conversation about Rain and his family, and he was very proud of his family. Finally, we got down to business. We would buy, and the money was ready. Don Anselmo, I said to him in Spanish, we have made a discovery. You remember that we sent that surveyor, that engineer, up there to survey your land so as to make the deed. Well, he finds that you own more than 8 acres, and he tells us that your land extends across the river and that you own almost twice much as you thought. He didn't know that, and now Don Anselmo added. So, fourth paragraph, it's like this. There was a great deal of conversation about Rain and his family. So, this line states that as they are ready, that is, Americans and the storyteller and the old man have settled down now, and before they start their official discussion, they had started their conversation by talking about the Rain and their family. Okay, they started their discussion and they started their conversation with the beginning about talking about Rain and his family, and he was very proud of his family. So he here refers to Anselmo. He was very proud of his family. Finally, we got down to business. Got down means started. Finally, they started to talk about their business. Yes, he would sell as he had agreed. As he had agreed. Here he refers to Anselmo. So here the American, that is the author, says that yes, he is ready. That means he had agreed to sell. That means this Anselmo is ready to sell his property. Okay, for $1,200. So Anselmo is ready to sell his property to Americans for $1,200. We should buy, and the money is ready. So the author is beginning his that means started his deal. He says that yes, Don Anselmo is ready to give his property to Americans, and Americans are also ready to buy that land for $1,200. Don Anselmo. So Don, here Don in Spanish it is a title. So Don, okay, Don, it is a title, okay, which is a respectable title. It is given to a person, that is a sir. Don in Spanish it is a sir, okay, Spanish title of respect, much like a sir in English. So Don Anselmo. So Don means sir in Spanish. Okay. Don Anselmo, I said to him. I here refers to author. Yuan. Okay. He says, we have made a discovery. So writer, he says to Don Anselmo that they have made a discovery.